do you notice about the cover? What does it look like? You can just shout it out. It looks like a newspaper. What does it say up at the top? The Daily Wolf. Okay, so just keep that in your head out. And the end page is the author. He's not really good. Some people done with little words about him and then you can't see the author. Based on the cover, what do you think the Food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing that there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old lady's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. Whose house is this house? The third
Smart
pig.
one.
He's a bit smarter, huh? This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house out of
Bricks.
I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar. And he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet Granny's birthday cake? What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. So when he sneezed this time, did the third little pig's house fall down? Who looks evil? The pig? Why do you think he looks evil? Because he's mad? And the wolf is telling the story, right? So the wolf has all the ideas, right?
I would have jumped to the window.
He's telling his version. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. Would you go a little crazy too if somebody told you granny was talking?
No.
No?
Well,
I would.
I wouldn't go crazy. I would mind.
They wouldn't get back up.
Yeah. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. What do you notice about the cops and the reporters? They're pigs. So what does that mean? Like, if they're on the pig side, right? What do you think the reporters are what side of the story is the reporters gonna tell?
Pigs.
The pig story, right? They're on the same side.
He's a pig, and pigs gotta stick together like family.
Pigs got to stick together like family, right? The rest, as they say, is history. What does this look like again? The front page, but what do you notice at the top? The Daily Pig, and it says, A.T. Wolf, big and bad, wolf, quote, I'll huff and I'll puff, end quote. So this is the Daily Pig, the pig's newspaper, and they're portraying the wolf as all big and bad, right? Whereas on the front, it was the Daily Wolf, and it's the wolf's version, right? He's telling the true story. Right.
I thought he was going to jail.
The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Where is he at now?
Jail.
Jail, right.
Here, I'll loan you a cup of sugar if you don't come blow my house down.
He does very nice, does he?
Hey, I'll come loan him a cup of sugar if he promises not to come and blow my house down.
Maybe, yeah, that's what you're doing. Okay, so now take one piece of your notebook paper, and we're going to do a noticing and wondering. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but it's kind of like a compare and contrast, but not really. So maybe on the left side of your paper, you can write things that you noticed in the story. So details or things that just caught your attention. And then on the wondering side, on the right side of the page, this side, you can write things you wonder about the story. So maybe one thing that I would notice is this story is about the wolf, is from the wolf's point of view. But what I would wonder is he telling the whole truth? So you do yours, maybe give me like 3 to 5 noticings and 3 to 5 wonderings, and then we'll talk about it in a few minutes. So go ahead, you've got like 3 to 5 minutes, okay?
Right side.
Yes, right side is wondering and left side is noticing.
I get small notes
Okay.
with pencils.
And tell me what your group talked about. Go ahead.
And
Not just you, but your whole group.
And notice, we all put this, in the Little Red Riding Hood, the picture of the wolf's grandma was actually in Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf, dresses up as Little Red Riding Hood's grandma on the bed.
Yeah, so what they're talking about is this picture right here. It kind of looks like the wolf from the Little Red Riding Hood. So, like, if you think that that really is him dressing up as the wolf's granny, what does that make you think of? Like, what does that make? How does that change the story? Maybe. Maybe he's lying. Okay.
That's probably a picture of his grandma.
Yeah. It could be his grandma. Really. Another group. Go ahead.
One thing we noticed.
Pay attention.
One thing we noticed is he never really even asked the pigs for the sugar. Like he just knocked and they didn't even give him the sugar.
So he never did ask for any sugar. So what does that make us think of even more now?
Well, they didn't even give him
They didn't give him a chance to.
That the pigs are rude.
Pigs are rude. Okay, another group. Go ahead. Make sure you're paying attention to what he's saying.
One of them that Aloud was put in that we know the wolf's on the toy, and if he is telling the truth, but I put the only reason he everything's because he's lying. I wonder if he was doing it right. The reason I put that is because if you're not a bad wolf, then why would you eat the pigs?
Right. So what he's saying is that in his story he says he's not big and bad. But why would he really eat the pigs if he was bad?
It's
It is way different in the other story. So let me show you what you're talking about.
First person is me, second person is me, third person is me, third person is she. Everybody wants to know our P.O.V. Everybody wants to know our point of view. First person is me, second person is you, third person is me, third person is she.